Another trip to Nottingham, except this time it's the Blackbox Derby. Humble pie, that's what I'll be having for my Sunday roast. If you watched Blackbox on Wednesday, you'll know that Az is off to a carvery today and missing the games. But it'll be a roast for him, humble pie for me, because the Blackbox Derby did not go the way I wanted, or indeed the way I predicted. Credit to Brighton, ravaged with injuries, but that was probably the best first half I've seen from an opponent at the City Ground for a long time. They had total control of the midfield. I mean, they had their injuries, and we were missing Sangare, our record signing, and our knee. I don't want to make excuses, but we really did miss them. But Brighton had so many injuries, and they adapted and played brilliantly. Played right through us, didn't deserve to go one down, and then turned it round with two very well taken goals. Sal Pedro, very impressive when he came off the bench, to be fair. Is he going to tempt us again? Surely not. I think from an FPL asset point of view, Adingra is the one that's most owned, given the injuries that they've got on the moment. Matoma out, of course. He was okay, he looked flashy. He looked like he could be dangerous without really being a direct threat to us. For me, if you haven't got Palmer and you've got holding Adingra, I think that's a sell. I think Az is doing exactly that this week, and I think I'd have to endorse that. He didn't really look the direct threat. He didn't really look like he was going to get returns, despite Brighton playing so well. Pascal Gross with the 2 assists, of course. As for Forest, I think if you're holding Wood, you'll be a bit anxious that Origi came off the bench, but I think he'll be alright. I think he'll start the Everton game. I think the main concern for Wood owners is the fact that Hudson-Odoi is fit now, which is probably why, in case you are looking at Elanga, I wouldn't do it, because I think for me Hudson-Odoi is the better player. I think Cooper will see that, Cooper will know that. And I think he could, it could mean a change of formation for Forest. Gibbs White could go down the middle with Hudson-Odoi and Elanga wide. Talked about that in Blackbox last week, and that could happen, but I think Wood will start the Everton game. We ought to talk about the Man City-Liverpool game again, big one. Pretty dull, wasn't it? It was quite late on match day. It wasn't quite last, but it wasn't far off. It went the way I thought in the end, because on late tackle I kind of revised my prediction from a 2-2 to a 1-1. And I said that I think both teams would take a draw, and I thought that the international break might be an issue in terms of energy, fatigue and so on. And it was kind of like a tepid affair, not what we wanted from such quality players on show. Haaland and Salah got their returns. Will captains be alright? I guess so, but they'll be a little bit worried about what Son and Watkins can do today. I mean, Salah assist again rather than a goal, but he's only blanked twice now in 12 starts, so consistent. And then Haaland, of course, the goal just as we'd expect, getting him the record. Like I say, I think okay, but there'll be some concern that Son could beat that today against Villa. Elsewhere, Trent returned. A reward for those who went with Trent. If you sold Haaland, that's probably the only way you got to Trent. Did you start him? It's not certain. If you owned him, you started him in that game, of course. Still hasn't reached the heights of previous seasons, but certainly an indication that perhaps he could still be a factor in our season as it goes on. I should say 0.74 for Haaland on XGI, Salah 0.21, for those who love their XGI stats thrown into these. So Salah's XGI low, like we said, had to make do with the assist. It's not a concern though, as I say, with that consistency. Let's talk about Newcastle, because Anthony Gordon, I kind of didn't write him off, but we were talking about him in late tackle, and we were talking about the fact that, with the schedule that they've got, is Andy Gordon a bit more of a risk now as Barnes nears fitness? But he was outstanding again, 13-point return, a massive haul in the week where it's a little bit meh, isn't it, for returns at the moment. So Gordon could be a big differential for his owners this week by the looks of it, and outstanding. Took his goal well, got the assist for Lascelles' header as well. 5.8, and he's now only got 4 blanks in 11 starts, which is a great return for a 5.8 asset. I think I might have to revise my thinking on Gordon, and even though the schedule is tough for Newcastle, he might be the downgrade from Mbeumo that I make after game week 14. Trippier, obviously the other player that I carried into that game, along with Lascelles. Lascelles on my bench. I'm having a good run of points on my bench and defenders. Trippier had no concerns really. I thought he was outstanding again. Unlucky to come out with a blank. Hit the bar, of course. Could have had an assist. So he's still a hold for me. The fact that I've managed to afford him, I'm not going to downgrade him at the moment. Maybe he's a keeper for the season. As for Chelsea, Reece James, another fullback. He's found another way to troll us, didn't he? He's saying he looks fit. He's saying he's fit and feels stronger. He didn't look fit to me. He actually he was struggling in the game at times, and certainly was found wanting when Gordon left him for pace and he got the double yellow card, got the second yellow card. Suspended now for the Brighton game, I think. That's right, yeah, next game. Now, interestingly, Brighton are going to go there, a lot of injuries, and down the left-hand side, no left back. So Reece James could have got some profit from that game now, at that point. But now it's probably Sterling, who did look impressive at times, who could profit from Brighton injuries. There'll be goals in that game. Goals follow Brighton around. So if you're holding Sterling, you hold him for that game, I think. Palmer went off with the red card, but still their best player and still a hold. Definitely an enabler that you need, I think. Let's talk about Arsenal. This was the last game on Match of the Day, the Garden Centre game in the evening, if you like. They managed to come away with a victory. They did what I thought they'd do, a professional performance, and 1-0. Saka, again, like Salah, has only blanked in 2 starts this season. His shots have gone down. I think it's 2.3 shots per game last season, 1.8 this season. That is a little bit of a concern. He's not showing the goal threat, but he's finding ways to points. Another smart assist for Havertz this time. But it's the Arsenal defence that I'm interested in. They're by far the best defence in the league. I think 10.56 expected goals conceded this season, which is the best. And while City remain expensive assets and unpredictable in terms of rotation, Arsenal certainly aren't. You've got Gabriel, Saliba's probably the Rolls-Royce option, as we said. Ben White out injured, which meant Tomiyasu and Zinchenko both started. So question marks about the fullback, but I guess the other asset to look at is Rayat, because Ramsdale played, but he looked shaky, didn't he, again? So for me, targeting Raya, getting him in my team is probably a priority, which might mean getting rid of Watkins to Solanke. More on that, I'm sure, in a bit. Mbeumo had the chance again. He could have returned for those early adopters who got him in ahead of game week 14 against Luton. Nothing wrong with that move, and he could have profited because it was Ramsdale's mistake that almost gifted him a goal. And again, you can say, if you're an Mbeumo owner, you're unlucky because he should have taken that chance. He really should. Yeah, talking of Solanke, how did they come out of that game, Solanke owners, with a blank? I guess you'll be very frustrated. Bournemouth looked very, very good indeed. Completely controlled the game. Carved Sheffield United open at will, it seemed. Tavernier got the 2 goals. How did Az predict that? Did you see that? Blackbox on Wednesday, he predicted a Bournemouth win, but didn't fancy Solanke. And I tested him on that. He said, oh, well, they're going to win with Tavernier getting a brace. I mean, I know he's a good player, but that is foresight. How could he manage that? Nostradamus-like predictions, and yet can't master the bench boost button. Don't know. Anyway, yeah, great returns for Tavernier. Not an option that's really crossed our path this season, but could be if Bournemouth keep playing like this. Solanke 0.68 XGI non-penalty. Yeah, I guess unfortunate to come out of a blank, but the way they're playing Bournemouth, I don't think investment in Solanke is a worry at all. They've got Villa at home next. I think there could be some joy there for Bournemouth again. I think that's a tough game for Villa now. Sheffield United, it's always difficult to judge teams against Sheffield United because they're poor, aren't they? They're really poor. I mean, defensively, absolutely dreadful. Fodringham's error and so many chances. I mean, the Tavernier second goal, just fundamentals. They need to defend that. So we're still going to be targeting Sheffield United. Players against Sheffield United is the way to go. There's no doubt about that. It's Burnley away next, though, so I don't know if we're going to look at any Burnley assets. What else? West Ham at Burnley, of course. No Bowen, which, I don't know, that information we got from Moyes, I thought he was going to play. It was a real roller coaster over the week, but didn't turn up. Still got this knee injury. don't know yet how long he'll be out for. It was funny that Mubama got some minutes off the bench, almost credited with the goal. It was an own goal in the end. And of course he's on my bench at, what's he dropped to 4.3 now? He might get some more minutes. He might even get a start. Ian Wright was calling for that last night in Match of the Day. So that'll be interesting if Mubama suddenly becomes active and maybe a valuable asset. Also, I mean, Kudos was a man of the match in that game. He looked very effective. It's a crowded field though, isn't it, for him to break into our midfields? I think that's the concern. And with Bowen there, he's always going to be the West Ham option. But talking of midfielders, if you went Bowen to Eze, so cruel. Injured in the 49th minute, joining General's podcast qualification, of course, if you're listening to that. Yeah, very, very frustrating for those who made the transfer to Eze this week ahead of the Luton game. He looked good in the 49 minutes he threatened, but now he could be missing game week 14 and maybe beyond. We haven't got a prognosis from Hodgson as yet. Elise was their standout in a 2-1 defeat. He could be an asset, but I just think now the injuries and disruption that Palace have had, and Decore was another one. He's going to be long term, and he's going to affect them more in attacking defensive terms, of course. So that could be a worry if you're holding Johnston, but again, the main worry was the set piece frailty, which Luton just exposed for the first goal. Palace suffered from this last season, and they're always prone to give away silly goals at set pieces, either in the first phase direct or in the second phase, and Luton exploited that and got a late winner. No assets really for Luton for me, and for Palace I don't think we go there yet unless Elise continues to sparkle. That's about it, I think, for Saturday's games. I'll be back after today's games. I've got Son, my captain, Watkins, Derby, and I've got Ain't Nori on Monday. So I'll come back after Sunday's games. New location for this. I really enjoyed this. Walk through the woods. So I'm here amongst the dog walkers and those middle-aged people with those stick things. You know, seems to be that that's the route I should go down at my age, maybe. Either that or cycling, but I don't think spandex will suit me. But I prefer this. I think I prefer FPL despite the pain. See you tomorrow. So here's the thing. I was at a niece's birthday party yesterday, so I couldn't watch the Villa Spurs game. So I recorded it and successfully got home, ready to sit down in the evening and watch a points fest from Derby, Watkins, and Son. Son was my captain, of course. I think Az missed it as well. I think it was at the Carvery. But of course I didn't get that, did I? I managed to avoid the score. Sat down and watched it around, I think about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the end. Fast forwarded the bits where there were stoppages and so on. And yeah, of course I saw Son get it in the net 3 times and was joyous only to see the flag and VAR prevent me from celebrating points. He had 5 shots and Spurs created chances. I mean, any fears about Maddison's absence meaning that they wouldn't create, I'm not sure there's too much in that from what I saw from the Villa game. I think their XG created was like 2.34, their XG from open play 1.91. That was second only to Bournemouth in the game week. So I think there's indications that Son's going to keep getting chances. So is he a sell? City next, but then 3 of the next 4 at home. I just don't know if I can sell him. He's an elite finisher, playing up front for an attacking team, taking penalties. The option would be, I think, selling him and then upgrading Mubama and moving to 4-4-3, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, that would be Darwin, Solanke, would it mean? And who would I bring in? Bowen, maybe Gordon? I don't know. Nothing leaps out. There's no Arsenal midfielders to move to. Bruno's not tempting me. Let's talk about Bruno, because Man United, of course. Oh no, before that, let's go back to Villa. So I sold Cash, and that worked out. He got hooked at half time, along with Diaby, which suddenly you got to look at those two and think, are they going to get rested over the Christmas? Because Tielemans came on, looked effective. Bailey came on, looked effective. and he can play Conte right back, of course. So I'm not sure now that Cash and Diaby are as nailed on as they were a few weeks back, with the festive crush coming up. So I've sold Cash already, and Diaby's gone for me now as well. So Diaby's gone for Mbomo, Bomo. There's still doubt about how you pronounce it. I think it's Mbomo, right? Ahead of game week 14, he plays Luton, of course. I think that was a sensible transfer. He was going up last night, so I immediately jumped on that and got the Diaby problem out of my team. So let's go on to United. What a goal from Garnacho. I can't believe Elise scored that goal for Palace at Luton. Goal of the season, you won't see a better one this season. 24 hours later, boom. What a goal it was. Thanks for the drilling, by the way. It's good. Yeah, what a goal from Garnacho. Incredible. Yeah, but not too much in that United game of note from an FPL reason. Rashford taking the penalty off Bruno, very handy, because Rashford's ownership around me, effective ownership, is about 1%, and it's like 0.7% in the top 10k, whereas Bruno's still around 7-8%. So I was pretty pleased to see Bruno give that up. Not that I saw it, because I was still on the way back, but you know what I mean, in the highlights, match of the day. But yeah, so not too much in that game. I've got one player tonight, so my game week's not over. I'm on 42 points. I'm on a red arrow, just clinging on to top 100k status. But I've got 8 Norway at Fulham. Now, what happens there? He's been looking good. He's been playing out of position. He's been playing left wing. Could I get an attack in return? Could I get a clean sheet? I don't know. We'll have to see. I've got to stay optimistic. The wind is playing havoc with what's left of my hair, by the way. Yeah, I've got to remain optimistic getting something, but I don't think I'm going to rescue a green arrow from this game week. It's going to be my second consecutive red. But I look at my team, having put Mbomo in, and it's as template as it gets. I mean, the only thing I can look at doing in the future is really downgrading Son or Trippier, I think, and then that would be a gamble because of what I'm losing, and I'd have to bank on the changes I make, making a big difference. I don't know. We'll have a look at it on Blackbox, of course, but for now, I'll be back tomorrow morning to celebrate my 8 Norway returns.
Yeah, I don't think I'm getting up early and going for a walk in the cold to talk about that shit show, I'm afraid. God. I got 18 minutes 8 Norway, and had I not brought him in, I would have started Lascelles, who got 7 points. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is FPL. I'll see you for Blackbox with Az tomorrow night. Don't forget to like and subscribe.